So welcome everybody. Hello, church family. We welcome you to the Oakland Center's Midweek Oasis Wednesday night service. My name's Paul Prasuti and I'm your host. And today is Wednesday, August 17th. As always, we have a wonderful evening planned for you for our midweek service. But why do we call it the Oasis? Well, that's because this is a place where we can be together as a community to be spiritually refreshed between Sundays. We present our Wednesday night services in what we call our version of satsang style, with the intention that these gatherings be informal, intimate, and rich. I know that is what is going to happen tonight. We got a great event for you planned tonight. But before we get into that, let me give you a little bit of stuff to know. First is our annual theme, Wonder, Wonder Everywhere. And our monthly theme is Living Everyday Wonder, with the new August theme of nature. That we kicked that off last Wednesday. So if you're joining us for the first time, we especially welcome you. We're glad you found our homepage. So please explore it. There's a lot of information. Check out our events page. And if you're interested in staying further connected with us, you can sign up for our Village News newsletter on the homepage in the lower left-hand section, and just put your email address in there. And every Thursday, it will be sent to your email inbox. Okay. So if you haven't done it already, we're asking everybody that's watching to mute your camera and your microphone as the program progresses. It does improve the quality of the transmission when our speakers come on. So that would be very helpful. And please stay tuned. Towards the end of the program, we have some special and important announcements. So we don't start anything here at the Oakland Center without starting with prayer. And tonight, our group conversation is being led by the members of the Loving Steward of Mother Earth Ministry. I'll tell you a little bit more about them in a minute, but one of their members is going to open us in prayer, and that is our practitioner, Zoe DeMuro. So I turn it over to you.
Thank you, Paul. Okay, folks, let's take a breath together as we so often do. We allow that breath to remind us of life, to remind us that the life that we enjoy comes from the one, loving spirit, God, Gaia, whatever term works best for you. But we know without a doubt that it is the source of all life, the source of all substance, the source of all. And as such, we know that each and every one of us must be connected, must be united, must be a part of this incredible unity and community. And this evening, as we look at how beautifully members of our community hold Mother Earth in their hearts and in their grace, we know that we are not simply doing something that is good for the planet. We're not simply doing something that's good for ourselves. We're doing something that is good for the universe, because everything is connected. We speak of making this a world that works for everyone. Let's expand that to make this a world that works for every creation of the one. And so we know, without a doubt, that the love and the grace of the one that flows in and through each and every one of our speakers this evening is the same grace and love that flows through each and every one of us. And so with that understanding, with that grace and exquisite feeling of togetherness, of community, of belonging, I know that we are blessed. This evening is blessed. This moment is blessed. It's blessed by our presence. It's blessed by our attention. It's blessed by our intention. And so in gratitude for all of that and for so much more, I release my word to the love and to the law of the one. And so it is.
And so it is. Thank you so very much. As I said earlier, tonight's presentation is from members of the Loving Stewards of Mother Earth Ministry. And there'll be 3 speakers tonight in the main part, but every other piece other than my pieces is being presented by a member of this wonderful, wonderful ministry. So to begin us and start us off will be Gabriella Condi. Gabriella, I will turn it over to you.
Thank you, Paul. Welcome, everybody. I have a slide to show you that speaks to the interconnectivity that Zoe just so beautifully articulated in that prayer. And this is called the Salmon Moon. And I'm just waiting to see it. It's by the artist Calvin Hunt, who is a Canadian First Nations artist, and he's from British Columbia. And here he's celebrating the native cultures of the Pacific Northwest and their relationship with the fish. The salmon moon celebrates the full moon where the waters come up the highest tide is on the full moon. And the full moon would let them know when they could get the most abundant catch, the most abundant harvest of the salmon.
I'm not seeing it yet.
You'll know it when you see it. My friend has this in his living room, and it's really striking. I mean, it just striking is the main word that comes to mind. I don't know. I feel like I can feel the moon in it. There it is. And the eyes are made out of copper, which speaks to wealth in Native American art. So of course, an abundant catch always speaks to wealth. I love this piece because it connects me to the moon through the animal kingdom and the water, and so directly to the moon. And I think when we're trying to understand the nature of something, it can help with when we're trying to repair our relationship to it. So tonight we're speaking on the water of life, but I'm speaking to the life of water, and I'm looking at it 2 different ways. How can we extend the life of the water we have? And how can we support and sustain the life within the water? If water sustains our lives on a daily basis, how can we sustain the life inside the water, the aquatic life? And in balanced relationships, there's always a giving and a receiving. And I just love visuals. So I thought of the infinity sign, and here I've got my water. And this is my visual for tonight, what I'm thinking of. When I was a younger environmentalist and I knew I was a tree hugger at 14, it was very clear that path for me. And much later, people would always say, oh, she's saving the earth. And they said it, and sometimes it felt sarcastic, sometimes it felt patronizing, sometimes they're just kind of making fun of me. And I can't figure out the correct emotion I would feel, sort of like under their breath. Now it's a little bit more in vogue to speak for the earth. But I didn't like that phrase, saving the earth, for a few reasons. One, it was a lot of energetic burden for me to carry, and we all have descendants we want to leave something for. And 2, if the humans perish, the earth is going to be here. It's us where we need to take care of. So the phrase that I feel better with, and this is absolutely my prayer, is may we humans reharmonize our relationship with Mother Nature. That feels more science of mind to me. That speaks to what I think we need to do. And speaking of prayer, I just want to say, I do pray for rain. I have, and my family does. And last night I had dinner with my parents, and my mom prayed for rain for the Western United States. And this morning I woke up at 6:30 to a random downpour, and I love the turnaround on that prayer. That was awesome. I definitely pray for the abundance of rain, but I think abundance can show up in many ways, and efficiency is one of the ways. Abundance, there's abundance in efficiency, and there's abundance in creativity and innovation. One of the tenets of permaculture, which is sort of a design process that embraces how energy moves through nature, and with the idea that we should be looking to nature on how to set up our systems, whether we're farming or creating a garden or creating a city. And one tenet is waste nothing. So nature wastes nothing. You think of a turkey vulture can finish up a roadkill, or what the coyote didn't finish for dinner, the turkey vulture can come around and finish it. Arctic foxes follow polar bears to finish off their dinner. So nature doesn't waste anything. And one thing that gives me hope with the way humans are using water is the setup of recycled water infrastructure. And a lot of people don't know about it, but I think it's very promising. And I think California sort of is a trend center in it. I used to work on urban planning issues. And for example, the San Leandro golf course uses recycled water to water its lawns. And that is somewhat easy for them to do because their water treatment plant is right next to the golf course, and water always follows the laws of gravity. So the water treatment plants are often by sea level because they're being treated before the water goes back out. So you could do that easily with a golf course that's right next to the water treatment plant. Landscaping projects are using recycled water, like the Lake Merritt rehab project they did a few years ago. That was pretty large. It took them about 3 years to finish. All the new landscaping has recycled water. And whenever you see a purple irrigation hub, so if it's lavender purple, that means recycled water. If we are concerned about water in California, this is the way to go. Even the Chevron refinery in Richmond has a recycled water. I don't know what to call it. It's a system. That's what it took a few years for them to implement it. And in this day and age, we don't want to be wasting water on oil refineries. So different entities are using that concept. However, those are some large scale projects I can share with you, but on a personal basis, how can we be more efficient with water? I like to use my creativity. So when I'm doing the dishes, I bring in my creativity. I have a pot or a bowl, and I try to catch the water I'm using, and then that water is considered gray water. I have 2 fruit trees I need to water. I have flowers and succulents, and so I just give the water a second life, just like those recycled water projects are doing. Also, so that's efficiency is one thing I want to share with you. Another way that we can respect the aquatic life that exists in our environment. So whatever's in the bay is gonna receive what we send down the drain. And there are ways that we can examine the toxic substances in our dish soap, in our bathroom products. And one website I want to share with you is ewg.org. I am about action because I'm speaking to what are we giving back to water? I receive a ton from water. I'm a swimmer. I love it. I'm a fish, you name it, like you want to go swimming, I'll join you. But I want to know how I'm treating water. So when I'm doing the dishes, you want to consider some non-toxic dish soap. And you can go to this website to see what you're buying has toxic chemicals in it. So Dawn and Palmolive, they have a lower grade on the website. So the website grades products in terms of, do they have a passing grade for the environment? And Trader Joe's has a very affordable option with their dish soap. You want to look for biocompatible or biodegradable on the label. So this is 7th generation. It's a little bit more, but it's powered by plants, it says, but if you can look at the labels and look for the words like biocompatible, biodegradable, then you can use that water on your own plants and you won't kill them, you know? And you're not going to kill when it goes down the drain. So just ways to consider, like when we're up against water, like when we're swimming, does our sunscreen have how does it grade with the environment? Like what we could look that up on that website and see if it has two substances that are known to hurt aquatic life in sunscreen are these chemicals I wanted to read, oxybenzoin and oxynosate. And different sunscreens have been known to cause fish infertility. They've killed water. These chemicals have been associated with water fleas and river environments dying or bleaching the coral reef. And but there are some sunscreens out there that don't do that. So I just invite us to do our research. And then one more suggestion I wanted to share with you. If you're washing your clothes and you want to create a gray water system, like you have a house and you have the power to switch around your plumbing a little bit and you want a garden, my parents have done this. The washer, there is a pipe leaving the washer out into the garden, and they use this laundry detergent. You can use this laundry detergent if you're not doing a gray water system. It's good detergent. And you can get it at Berkeley Bowl or some of the smaller markets, and it's a biocompatible, and you just don't want to kill the plants. But, and also one more prop, you can also fill up the bucket when you're turning on your shower and it takes 2 gallons before it even gets to hot. And that's something I do because I just bring the water downstairs and water my trees. So those are some ways that I'm trying to improve my relationship with water. And I shared the website, and I will close in saying, may we reharmonize our relationship with water and Mother Earth in general. And I'll put the website in the chat if someone didn't already. And I now pass my word to Amy.
Well, I just want to say that we didn't talk to each other when I didn't know what Gabriella was going to talk about. So when you see some of my slides, it might seem intentional that, hey, well, when she brought up that picture of the salmon moon, I went, oh my God, how did she know what I was going to talk about was going to be salmon? God is good. So I'm just going to share my screen to share some pictures as I speak. And I'm taking a slightly different approach. Let's see. There we go. Everyone can see that. I wanted to share a story that just happened a couple of weeks ago, and the impact that water has. Like, to me, that water is life, and the interconnectedness that we all have with those who also share this resource. And warning, some of you know that I am a college biology instructor, so there will be some science. After all, this is science of mind. So that's just a warning. So 3 weeks ago, my family and I headed up to Southern Oregon near Ashland to house sit for a friend of mine and her 2 cats. And I was really looking forward to getting away and relaxing. And I had never been to that area. And well, I and my whole family, we had not anticipated the heat wave that rolled in just as we got there, with temperatures that were over 100 every day. One day, it actually reached 109 degrees at 6:40 p.m. And it was just incapacitating. You just couldn't do anything. I felt like I couldn't even breathe. The air was just dry, and I felt like with every breath out, I was losing too much water for my body. The only salvation we had was going down to the Rogue River. So one morning, Craig and I got up early because he wanted to go fishing. And even by 7 o'clock, it was already 75 degrees. And a local had told us about these falls in a little town of Gold Hills. So just looking at this, you might think, oh, so refreshing, so cool. But it was actually quite hot. But the water made a huge difference. So this is, I hope I'm saying it right, Tacoma Falls. And the Tacoma people reclaimed these falls in 1933, following decades of mining, overfishing, logging, farming, and dams that began in the gold rush days. The Tacoma people, although Tacoma means people of the river. And this site, what you're seeing in this picture, is where for thousands of years, they celebrated salmon with a salmon ceremony. So during the ceremony, and this I all learned from a interpretive panel that was in this very, very, very small little park. There's like 2 interpretive panels. So during the ceremony, what would happen is the elder of the Tacoma sat in a stone seat, and that stone seat actually was unearthed and is there at that site, called the story chair. And they sat in that chair to net the first salmon of the spring run. So to allow salmon to pass upstream to spawn, that first salmon was carefully prepared and divided as a sacrament among the people. And to ensure that the salmon would always return, divers returned the bones and skin of that first fish to the pool below the falls. And this is the falls. I mean, it's not like a big waterfall. This is the falls that they're talking about. It's almost kind of like a rapid. So they return these bone and skin, and only then would salmon season begin. So here we were at this spot, and it was so hot. There's Craig fishing. And I felt at such peace at this sacred spot. And evaporative cooling from just putting your feet in the water. It was so peaceful. And I really so appreciated that I had this river to go to, because it was the only thing that we could do to bear the heat. And I just wanted to share a passage that Eckhart Tolle wrote, because it really describes how I felt and how we sometimes have to remember to feel these things and get out in nature and remind ourselves. So he writes, we depend on nature not only for our physical survival, we also need nature to show us the way home, the way out of the prison of our own minds. We got lost in doing, thinking, remembering, anticipating, lost in a maze of complexity and a world of problems. We have forgotten what rocks, plants, and animals still know. We have forgotten how to be still, to be ourselves, to be where life is, here and now. To bring your attention to a stone, a tree, or animal does not mean to think about it, but simply to perceive it, to hold it in your awareness. Something of its essence then transmits itself to you. You can sense how still it is. And in doing so, the same stillness arises within you. You sense how deeply it rests in being, completely at one with what it is, and here it is. In realizing this, you too come to a place of rest deep within yourself. There was something very calming just sitting by this flowing river and hearing and seeing the sounds of nature. It's so important to rejuvenate our souls by connecting with nature in this way. And I even forgot how hot the temperature was, and it was quickly climbing towards 100 again. But for that moment, I didn't even notice that it was that hot. So on a nearby interpretive panel, there was a quote by, this is Grandma Aggie, who took her seat in the story chair in 2012 and blessed the water. And she wrote, well, she said, "We are all water babies. We are all people of the river." So I guess we're all Tacoma. And, you know, I'm a biologist, so I started to think about this and how we are all water babies. Like salmon, we start our lives as tiny fertilized eggs that turn into embryos who grow and develop in a watery environment. Look how alike we are. So that's a fish embryo and a human embryo. And in a great video series, and the link is there, Exploring Your Inner Fish, evolutionary biologist Neil Shubin reminds us, and this is what he says: "Our arms, legs, necks, and lungs were bequeathed to us by a fish that lumbered onto land some 375 million years ago. The genetic legacy of this creature can be seen today in our own DNA, including the genes used to build our hands and limbs. We are one with all creation. We owe it to our furry, feathery, and scaly cousins to protect this planet, to protect the air and the water that they rely on too." The extreme temperature that met me in Oregon, that's the result of climate change caused by humans. Understand, the planet's going to survive. It's already survived other mass extinctions, but we are on a trajectory for this planet becoming inhabitable for us and other life forms to survive on it. On the left is a picture of a blue heron that I saw down at that at the falls, and on the right are some turkeys who came to drink some water every day at the house where we were house sitting. So for discussion later, if we have time, I'd really like us all to consider little steps, little ones, that we can all do to combat climate change. And I'm going to end with this Hindu declaration on climate change. "We hold a deep reverence for life and an awareness that the great forces of nature, the earth, the water, the fire, the air, and space, as well as all the various orders of life, including plants and trees, forests, and animals, are bound to each other within life's cosmic web." So on that, I'm going to pass it to Freya.
Here we go. Wow, thank you so much, both Gabrielle and Amy. Thank you. I'm usually reluctant to speak in public, but I can't help wanting to speak for the earth. And recently I discovered something that I want to share in my conclusion. And and if people aren't hearing me, let me know. So, okay. I believe that we can heal and love ourselves and our bodies and the world and the earth by choosing and becoming and being conscious and aware and living in the infinite divine power of the here and now. And that is beyond, sadly, how we humans have been accustomed to living, in our head mostly, and in our culture's story and our family stories of who we are and who we should be. And we forget we don't remember to notice the silence and the stillness and the love, which we know is there and we know we are. As often as we don't live there yet that I know of, but we're moving that direction. And I would like to share what I see is the important vital connection between living and being spiritual beings and being in tune with and caring for the earth. As we are just one strand in the web of life. I see this as very much related to Ernest Holmes' philosophy and that CSL is based on. Here, I'm gonna put this on gallery so I can see you all. Oops, I can't see you anyway. Pictures hiding. I want to point out that nature and non-human animals are free from the domination of our busy thinking minds and thoughts. As a result, I see nature as a reliable path to not only soothing ourselves, but also a place where we can find it much easier to recognize the traits of the Creator, the silence, the stillness, the love, the aliveness, the intelligence. Since I was a child, I felt more in tune with nature and than with our culture. For example, as its demands to be a consumer and follow cultural traditions. My mother had just gotten back from Africa, where she'd been in the jungle for 4 years. And I think that rubbed off on me as a child, right from the very beginning. When we look at nature, as Gabriella mentioned earlier, there is no waste. While in our culture, the rule is buy whatever you want, use it once, and then throw it away. My favorite local non-dual satsang teacher, Pamela Wilson, uses nature as the way it shows up in the world and the way it shows up in the world as the means of teaching and recognizing, connecting to our true nature, the pure essence of what is. Nature, as she sees it, is a very accessible doorway into the beauty and magnificence that is available to us. As soon as we step into nature or even study and think of the ways of nature, like biomimicry or whatever, we can shift or let go of our limited perspective. I am loving the growth path that is opening up for me as I love the earth more and more and am caring for it in different ways, kind of like Gabriella was describing, the creative ways that we can be kind to the earth and not use it so much of its resources. And it's interesting, just this week, I experienced, I had an image come in my mind of roots growing out the bottom of my feet. And so I really love that meditation that Gabriella did. In the beginning, this path demanded that I let go of the anger, the hatred, the uncomfortableness that I have felt since childhood towards the human species. It then was followed by a process of grieving, how humans have been so blind including me, to the hand that feeds us and the web that we are a part of. It's led me through grief of how oblivious we humans have been acting, and the grief of the unbelievable losses from the World Wildlife Fund Living Planet Report 2020. 2/3 of the global wildlife population has been lost in just the past 50 years in our lifetimes. I think that it has always been this way for humans. Not just from, like people mention in the book of Genesis, where it says that God gave mankind dominion over nature. And a lot of people are stuck there. But even before that, Plato spoke up about his sadness about the forest being cut down. And speaking for and sharing my love for the earth it has been demanding that I keep opening up to loving more, to loving myself, to loving my fellow humans and the human species in general, and along with our human history. I was prompted to begin this deep process of opening up, grieving, and letting go of the victim, villain, rescuer paradigm as we started attending the services at OCSL when Reverend Jeff arrived. The information about the state of the earth is quite startling when you study it. My husband has been going on Google for several months, studying climate and other related issues, and has been shaking his head in disbelief that we are so close to a breaking point. In the United States, until recently, we have been quite sheltered from the harsh effects. And my focus on wildlife and habitat, North America has lost 95% of its old growth redwoods, but only, and I'm saying but only 33% of its wildlife, while in Africa, 65% has been lost. And in Latin America, 94%. It said in the 2020 Living Planet Report. So this is the most important thing that I wanted to say was that there's a UC Berkeley professor that's been teaching students recently and just written a book about taking care of the earth, the condition of the earth. And then students are all shocked and not believing it. And she likes to follow the roots back to where that started. And she also wants to do kind of like, I feel like we do at CSL. She has the students connect up with their deepest self and to find their gift that they have to offer. And that's how she's dealing with it. So I took that and I wanted to keep following it back. And I followed it back to the cause of our separation with nature and the root of the issue, why humanity is kind of in denial that we're a part of nature and we're part of the web of life. And we've struggled with living in a world that works, like Zoe said, works for all, including nature. It seems, what I found seems very simple, but it's not easy. Just when animals, my theory is that when animals started having thought and became humans, and the human species developed, thoughts and just held in our brain are these concepts in our head have cut us off from our bodies, cut us off from other species, cut us off from everything. And it's and we began, as some people say, we began living here and we're eating the menu instead of the meal. And I think that's why I love CSL, because I feel like that from this separation that thought has created, staying in our heads and our thoughts, and not, I don't mean the thoughts, the big mind and the thoughts connected with spirit. As we've done that, we've cut ourselves off from life. And from this, I conclude that spirituality is where we can begin once again to be aware beings living as embodied spirit. I think that's all I'll say. I hope people understood what I was saying here at the end. So thank you.
Thank you to our three presenters tonight, Gabriella Condi, Amy Chovnik, and Freya Hermanson. So this is the part, we've got about 8 minutes or so for sharing. So the way we do it is we ask everybody to go into gallery view. And if you'd like to share, Constance already has her hand up. Helene is going to be our moderator today. We ask, if you want, turn on your camera and you can raise your hand like this to be recognized. Or you can use your reaction button at the bottom and click the raise hand, as I just did. And then Helene will recognize you. So Helene, I'll turn it over to you for those that would like to share, contribute, ask a question to our three speakers.
Okay, well, great. I guess as Constance got her hand up, so Constance.
Okay, I wanted to share something, and Dorothy, help me with some names if you remember them, but I just got back from an incredible conference celebrating our spirit, which was held at Unity Village in outside Kansas City, and it was a New Thought conference for people from African heritage. So all the speakers were African Americans, and one of the very last speakers was a Unity minister. And one of the things she said that speaks directly to what you were talking about, Freya. Well, actually, a number of the speakers made the point, and it was very clear in the energy and in the speaking that went on at this conference that for most indigenous people, New Thought is not new. It's extremely ancient because it's what they've known for a long, long time, because they never lost that relationship to the earth. And so that's why, and what she was saying, one of the things she said was that, and it really helped me understand how we as Caucasians started to lose that connection. She said that she had done some research and realized that the Greek philosophers had actually gone to Egypt to study. and they had learned a lot of what they brought back from the Egyptians, which was another earth-based belief system. But when they came back, they left. They put the emphasis on the rational mind and not on the spirit. So they lost the balance, and that we've brought that forward and increased it in our culture, so that even in science of mind, we're having to get away from that because we put so much emphasis on the mind and not on the heart. And so we're coming into balance with that as well. So I just I wanted to share that because that was a real eye-opener for me. And Dorothy, if you remember that speaker's name, I would appreciate it if you remember, but I don't have my program, so I can't look it up.
I think, Constance, that was Reverend Wells who talked about that. I wasn't sure either, but I appreciate you coming forward and allowing people to know that God is everywhere present in all religions. And it was not just about being African American descent. It was about us coming together as a unity and knowing that God is all there is. We all have the same thoughts and beliefs about God. We need to be open. We need to open our minds and our hearts, and even in our community, because I am knowing that there are some of us that still think that we as African Americans are under you all, okay? But we are not. We are one. We are all one. And for you, of all of you who think we are not a part of you, I would like you to just take a look at where you are in this community and know that God is all there is, okay? God is all there is. Come on now.
Amen,
For
sister.
some of you who don't have a clue about us, it's not just about African Americans, it's about our community, unity. Churches from Jamaica, everywhere, we came together as one. So let us not remember that we are all one community, living in the light of God, because we believe and know that God is all there is. And let's not forget where we came from and who we are. Constance, thank you for bringing that forward. And Constance is ready to go to any kind of revival because she knows firsthand God loves you just the way God loves us. Come on now. I am overwhelmed by unity churches, CSL churches, all of us coming together and knowing that God is all there is. So for us that come to CSL, let us not look at each other as being different. Let us look at each other as being one. And I give great thanks for Reverend Jerry Carter, who has tried her best to bring us together as one. I'm saying thank you, Mother, Father, God, for Reverend Jerry. Thank you. And I'm complete. Paul, I am so sorry that I took over your I took over your service. But I just
No, wait a
wanted
minute, Miss Oneness. It's
God is
all
all
of
there
our
is.
service. Dorothy, thank you. It's all of our service. Helene, who's next?
It looks like Reverend Jerry's next.
Okay, let's take a breath. Let's take a big breath. What a beautiful evening. What a great informative evening. And I thank you all for sharing your knowledge and your depth of understanding and your appreciation for Mother Earth and all the things that we can do to improve as humans and to stand in the truth of knowing the sustainability that is necessary, and that we can all do our our part. So I think tonight was a beautiful reminder, and I appreciate each and every one of you for the time that you have spent, the research that you've done. Constance, thank you for your sharing about that fabulous convention, and Dorothy and everyone. I just really appreciate an evening like this of informative, special information that we all really need to listen to and hear. And so I just want to appreciate everyone for their part in this evening's sat song. Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Reverend Jerry.
Uh-huh.
And actually now I would kind of like to make a prayer request as we're talking about the water and the ecosystems. Sure, some of you may be aware that I live on a boat. So I live on the estuary in Oakland, and we are now 3 weeks into experiencing a toxic algae bloom in the Bay Area, which is devastating to the ecosystem. And I was hesitant to talk because I didn't want to be like a downer, but yes, it's important all over the world. The planet is in jeopardy, and we need to take steps now, yesterday, in order to make things, in any case, that it's 3 weeks now that we haven't had any birds around the estuary. I don't know if you've noticed that maybe there's not as much wildlife around, but the water is toxic right now. And it's not only in the estuary, it's on the bay side of Alameda as well, with this toxic algae bloom. And for the first couple of days, the seagulls were frantically squawking at each other, like, how are we going to get to the food? And they couldn't. And after 2 days of, kind of panicky squawks, they disappeared. And it's been eerily quiet on the water for the last couple of weeks. So if you could just include our very own Bay Area in your prayers, that would be fabulous. And yeah, kind of like what Amy said, the planet's going to survive. That's not a concern. One of my favorite, George Carlin said it many, many years ago, the planet's going to be just fine. The question is whether we're going to be here to enjoy it. So I've been praying that the water has been on my top of my prayer list for the last 3 weeks. And I just request that everyone else could do the same. If there's anybody else that would like to have a question, if anyone else wants to raise your hand, otherwise, I guess I could turn it over to Paul. Is there anyone else that has something pressing they would like to say? No? Okay, well then, Paul, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Thank you, Helene. Helene, geez. I'm having my own toxic bloom up here tonight, okay? I learned something tonight, and that's the purpose of Wednesday nights. No one dominates it. It belongs to all of us.
Absolutely.
And therefore, with that in mind, I'm so grateful for this team. Gabriella, especially you. I'm going to start taking a shower with a bucket in it. Now, I'm a little worried about what fruit trees I'm going to put that water in, but
Or such a nut.
I ain't eating that fruit, but I will start doing it, and I do have some plants here. I also want to give a shout out to Margot, because she turned me on to something very cool, which was that she is growing, her and Diane have a lot of succulents in the garden. I hope you don't mind me stepping on your dress a little bit, Margot. But she encouraged me a year or so ago, just take some cuttings, stick it in the dirt, and they'll grow. Well, they have, Margot, and I've had to water less because now I've got succulents. I also have them in hanging baskets where everything else has died over the years. They're flourishing in hanging baskets. So when Susan Brecker was having her recent celebration, I took a cutting, which is now first generation from Oakland Center, and created her own succulent pot of all the cuttings that I took from the center, Margot. And I gave it to her as a gift to give her, and told her this is second generation from what you and Diane created, but she's enjoying it in her yard, and she is in a separate pot, and she's growing her own succulent garden starter sets, which she will then put in her yard, which will help save water. So we have a way to do it here at the center, Margot, and I'm kind of stealing your thunder, but that's what I've done. And Gabriella and Amy and Freya, that's how I'm going to continue to save water, with a bucket and water Margot succulents in my yard with it. So there you go. All right. Thank you for letting me have the last word on that. So we have some announcements. I want to thank everybody, and we'll come back to thank you. It's got some announcements we got to get through. So Peter, when you're ready, let me get to the right screen.
Helene, that'll be Helene.
Oh, you're right. Helene is also blossoming here at in the audiovisual world. So, and I'm so grateful for what she's done tonight. She's really done a lot. So thank you, Helene. I'll get to everybody in a minute. So let's start with announcements. This Sunday, August 21st, Reverend Catherine Sachs will be speaking on headlines, fears, and faith. Please join us in person with meditation at 10 and at the service at 10:30. And we are now streaming directly to YouTube, and the link is on the home page if you choose to watch the service from home. Next Wednesday, August 24th, one of our greats, practitioner Judith Roberts, continues the thing of nature by speaking on naturally divine. Meditation at 6:30 and service at 7. Wednesday night services will remain on Zoom. There is still time to sign up for the East Bay Church of Religious Science is presenting a special day with Reverend Dr. Edward Vion, spiritual leader of Centers for Spiritual Living. From 9 to 1 on Saturday, August 20th, Reverend Edward will guide us into embracing mystical joy, a day of spiritual practices. Learn more in the Village News tomorrow or the events page. Remember, our Diversity Circle meets every fourth Friday at 7 p.m. On Friday, August 26th, join the Diversity Circle in an interactive, inclusive, and engaging group. During this Diversity Circle presentation, Sam Lundquist, Associate Pastor of St. John's Presbyterian, San Francisco, will share his story of two parallel journeys, one into the ministry and one into drag. He will explore what faith communities can learn from queer spaces that can transform them more fully into spaces of welcome, belonging, and liberation. Again, that's Friday, August 26th, 7 o'clock. It's on Zoom. Please check our events page. Also on Sunday, visit the bookstore after service. Lots of new products and new books for your enjoyment, and everything is 40% off in August. The end of summer, Welcome Back Barbecue is only 10 days away. Grill Masters Extraordinaire Craig Ferguson, along with John Russell, will be flipping the burgers and hot dogs. Practitioners will be handing out ice cream bars. Whether you're vegan, gluten-free, or dairy-free, we'll have something for you. This will be held at our center on Sunday, August 28th at 12 noon. A love offering is requested, but not required. Sign up in the courtyard on Sunday or go to the events page for an online sign up. We need to know how many burgers and hot dogs to prepare for. So if you're intending on coming, please let us know through those mediums. And as always, for information on all that is going on at the Oakland Center, just look at these folks that provide those roles: ministry of prayer, facility uses, bookkeeping, board president, minister, administration, and education, all of that. Visit our website. You can find out how to contact them there. Be sure to check our events page. Don't forget you can follow us on Instagram, YouTube, and Facebook. And if you are not receiving it already, you can sign up for our weekly newsletter, the Village News, on the homepage of our website. So take a deep breath with me and follow along as I read the New Minister's Covenant together, our ritual from Sundays we also do on Wednesdays. The New Minister's Sacred Covenant. There is only one life. This life is good. This life is God. This life is my life now. In knowing that I am one with this life that is God, I therefore know that I am one with all of its blessed expressions, which includes the presence of a new minister for my beloved spiritual community. Because I know that the highest purpose of my new minister is to reveal spirit, I therefore know that my new minister is a revelation of God's wisdom. I further know that my new minister is the fulfillment of that which has been promised by Spirit. For it is written, I am filled with divine wisdom. I allow divine mind to fill my mind now. As I stand in agreement with my beloved community, I see my new minister revealed before me as unity in the community. I now intend to experience my new minister in full cooperation and agreement with my community, knowing this truth about myself, for I am inspiring unity and diversity, embracing and nourishing our community. I am awakening the wisdom within. I am healing and expanding our community with the power of love. I am engaging the community in building a world that works for everyone. I am deepening family consciousness. As I now accept the highest expression of a new minister into my life, I know that they are revealed in a way that illumines spirit and serves the highest and greatest good of all who are touched by their presence. I am grateful God is gracious, and so it is. Ashe. So I released our sacred covenant into the universe, knowing that our right and just minister is arriving. I'm also grateful knowing that we have an opportunity to give at the center of our time, treasure, and talent. So hold whatever that is close to your heart in thought and in mind and in body, in heart, and follow along with our giving affirmation. As I match my frequency to that of abundance and love, I become a transmitter of that same love and abundance. Everywhere I go, and so it is. So if you check out our homepage on our website, you can click that abundance and giving button, and it'll show you the ways that you can help financially by donating to the center, either through credit card or Zelle or texting. It has our address if you want to mail a check, or you're welcome to use our offering basket if you come in person on Sundays. So those are the ways that you can contribute financially. I am so grateful in this moment for everything that transpired tonight. First, I want to thank our folks that have come forward to speak tonight. Gabriella did the meditation and also kicked off the speaking with Freya and Amy. I want to thank Zoe for doing the opening prayer. Always Reverend Jerry for being here, supporting us. What also keeps us going is the Zoom team. They really give their time and treasure by making this possible for us to have this healing and wonderful and educational and informative Wednesday night services. So I want to thank Peter up in Portland, Elaine. We'll hold you in prayer. We'll work on that. What did we call it? The toxic bloom. And we're going to work on that as a community through our prayer mediums that we have here. Sabrina, as always, you're the best. And Alice, you keep us going. So let's give the Zoom team a big hand for what they do for us every week. And on Sundays, they're also parts of them that work on the AD team. So we're grateful for all of that. And I do want to revisit just for a second one quick thing. And I'm not getting what I want. So I'll pitch a hissy with my Word document here. I want to thank the folks from the Mother Loving. Gabriella, come on and tell me what it is. I don't have my notes.
Loving, well, I should have Margot. I think I feel that maybe Margot's the one who named it. I don't know. I sensed Margot in that name. The Loving Stewards of Mother Earth.
There we go. And all of the folks that participated. And there's no way we do not start Wednesday night without doing it, and we don't do it without closing. So the mother of this group is Margot. It sounds like she invented the name. Margot, you do so much.
I don't think so. I don't think so, but I like it.
Well, I can't remember.
I'm happy you're stuck.
It was Reverend Jeff
I'm hap-
that chose the name.
Well, we can blame it
Yeah,
on
I think that's right, Freya.
Margot. You pushed it forward. Just look behind me. You can see it right there. See that beautiful
Yes.
presentation up there? That's all Margot and Diane, and a little bit of me and Christopher and some others, but mostly Margot. Margot, your vision has realized, and we've had a whole Wednesday night on this subject. So it doesn't seem inappropriate. It seems completely natural that you should close us out in prayer tonight. So I'm turning it over to you.
Yes, I feel really lucky to have that task. And it was like 8 years ago when my two daughters and this very own Gabriella Conde first brought the first succulents to start a little patch in front of Jeff's car. So all the succulents come from that. And we're happy that so much of the gardens are succulents because we are using very, very few drops of water. And so we will see what remains. But I'm thrilled. You know, the closing is about gratitude. I don't know about you, but my cheeks are burning with the energy of the love of nature tonight. And I've been breathless, so maybe we all need to bring our attention back. And Zoe started us with a theme of unity. Everybody, one way or another, did. Dorothy, of course, always brilliantly. And we can say God is all there is, but we can also say life is all there is, or all that is life. So it is with a full heart and great gratitude and an energy of trust and faith that I know the law is feeling. I know it hears and sees Gabby and Amy and Freya, who love and inspire us, who have learned beyond the average person and who live it and inspire us to live. It is with an incredible faith and trust and love of this environment, we called it nature tonight, that is still holding us and giving us a chance to reach a critical mass of conscious people that understand the fragility, the mathematical equations that of what needs to be in the air for us to breathe, what needs to be in the water for those to sustain. I'm grateful for the capacity to envision and create a sustained planet Earth. Not just planet Earth, but life on planet Earth and the evolution of consciousness. So I do release with gratitude the stewards of the earth who took this evening, and I just think it was wonderful. And I savor this hour spent and will think about it for a very long time. And I release it into the law knowing that the law feels all of our emotions and our faith and our trust and our visions. And so it is. Beautiful night.
And so it is.
And so it is.